I was paring out the walls for this planing stop mortise this morning, and I made a huge mistake. So this morning I had this top flipped over, and there was a ledge down here in this mortise from cutting the hole from two different sides. They never quite line up perfectly, so I always have to do a little bit of paring or trimming. And there was about a 32nd or maybe 3/64 lip. So I was chopping in this direction here, and you can see that there's a little bit of tear out. Not too bad, but that was a sign that I should have listened to, but I ignored. And that is basically telling me that I was either trying to chop too much material at once to get a clean cut, or that my chisel needed to be sharpened. And even though I had this edge chamfered, it still caught at the end and it just blew this chunk out. So maybe the chisel was dull, maybe there was a small weakness in this bit of grain, but either way, I've got a problem and now I've got to try to solve it. So I'm going to have to pull out all the stops for this. I'm going to use every tool I can think of to make this thing right, because this bench is 75%, the bench top is 75% complete, so it would be a huge loss to just give up on it. We're going to have to use a little bit of gravity, a little bit of dental floss, some glue, a clamping caul, and a good clamp. And I think once we do all of that, we'll end up with a repair that's pretty much invisible. So what I'm going to do is stand this bench up on end so that I can get the glue to flow down into that crack. And then I'll use my dental floss to help it get all the way to the end so we can get a solid glue up. Okay, here we go. Got a little bit of Titebond here. And we're going to put quite a bit on there. We're going to let it, try to get it to flow into that crack. And there's quite a bit of surface tension, so it's not going to flow easily. So that's where the dental floss comes in. Let's see if we can get it started. And this might look messy, but I don't care. It's the end result I'm after. Okay, I think we got pretty good glue coverage in there. Lost a strand of our floss. Okay, so you could probably just put a clamp on this, but I want to focus the pressure as much as I can. So I've just got a piece of wood here with some masking tape on it so the glue doesn't stick to it. All right, so I'm going to slide this down. I'll do a little bit of cleanup here to get some of the extra glue off. The rest will clean up after it's dry. I'm going to let this sit for at least an hour before I take the clamp off, but I won't mess with this area at all until tomorrow. I'll let it sit overnight before I start working on it, but I can take the clamp off within an hour or two and I should be okay. Let's see how it turned out. That looks pretty good. I'm really happy with how this repair turned out. I wasn't so sure that it was going to pull through, but I still have a job to finish here. I've got to finish chopping this waste out of the way. So there's a couple things I'm going to do first. I'm going to take this glue, this caul that I used for clamping, and I'm actually going to clamp it at the edge of this opening. That'll back up the material so that if it tries to blow out again, the last thing I want to do is re-break it because the tight bond won't stick to itself once it's dry. The other thing I'm going to do is sharpen my chisel. I'm gonna get that thing nice and sharp so I can finish the job, and then I'll probably, instead of trying to just go right back to where I left off, I'll divide that material in half, and I'll take a shallower cut and then come back and finish that job. So we'll see what that looks like here in just a second. Okay, we're ready to finish the job here, and I've got you an angle here below the bench. This is the spot that blew out. So what I'm going to do is hold the chisel flat against that wall, and then I'm going to pull back on the handle a little bit and try to get it to bite in so I'm not taking as deep a cut. Then I can come back and take a cut. My other option would be to use a slicing motion for that last little bit. You can see what that looks like here. Okay, we've got a completely repaired blowout.